Welcome to the Service Instance Creation module. Today we will learn how to create service instances in SAP BTP. This means provisioning ready-to-use cloud services for your applications. For example, creating a database instance to store product data for an online store. Mastering this process is essential for building and running solutions on the platform. This is your first step to deploying cloud services. It means you are creating the foundation for a cloud application, similar to ordering a specific tool for a project. For example, creating a database service instance is like provisioning a secure, empty database ready for your app's data. Every cloud solution begins with this essential action. We will walk through the cockpit step by step. This means I will guide you visually through each part of the SAP BTP interface where you create services. For example, imagine provisioning a database like selecting a product online and checking out. You will gain the confidence to perform this task yourself. You will be creating instances confidently by the end. This means you will gain the skills to set up and manage service instances on SAP BTP without hesitation. For example, you will create a PostgreSQL database instance to store application data. With this hands-on ability, you will be ready to deploy your own solutions efficiently. A service instance is a provisioned unit of a cloud service. A service instance is your personal copy of a cloud service. This means you create your own dedicated version of a service, like a database, to use exclusively for your project. For example, creating a service instance for SAP HANA Cloud gives you a private database to store your application's data. This personal copy ensures your resources are isolated and secure. Think of it like your own workspace for that service. This means you get a dedicated area to configure and use that specific service independently. For example, creating a service instance for SAP HANA Cloud gives you your own isolated database to work with. This workspace ensures your settings and data remain separate from others. Each instance can have different settings and data. This means you can create multiple copies of the same service, but configure each one uniquely to store separate information. For example, you could have one service instance for development data and another for production data, each with its own configurations. This flexibility allows you to tailor services to specific needs without interference. You can create multiple instances of the same service. This means you can provision the same service type several times, each as a separate, independent unit. For example, you could create two separate SAP HANA Cloud instances for different development and production databases. This flexibility allows you to manage resources and access for various projects or teams efficiently. First step, access the SAP Business Technology Platform cockpit. Open your web browser. This means starting the application you use to visit websites, like Chrome or Safari. For instance, just as you'd open a browser to check your email, do the same here to reach the BTP cockpit. This simple action is your starting point for accessing all BTP services. Go to the BTP cockpit URL provided by your administrator. This means using a specific web address to reach the central management tool for SAP BTP. For instance, your company's IT team would give you a link like https://yourcompany.cockpit.btp.cloud.sap to log in. This is your starting point for managing all your cloud applications and services. Log in with your credentials. This means using your unique username and password to securely enter the BTP platform. For instance, a developer uses their company email and password to access their development space. This initial step is essential to begin working on your projects in the cloud. You will see the Global Account Overview page. This is your main dashboard showing all your BTP resources and services in one place. For instance, if you manage multiple development projects, this page lists each one, their status, and usage. It's your central starting point for everything in BTP. Locating your subaccount in SAP BTP. From the Global Account page, look for subaccounts in the left menu. This means you start at your main account overview and select the subaccounts option from the navigation panel on the left side. For example, it is like choosing My Files from a computer's Start menu to see all your documents. This simple step directs you to your dedicated workspace. Click on Subaccounts to see your available subaccounts. This means you select the Subaccounts option in the BTP cockpit to view a list of all the subaccounts you can access. For instance, you might see separate subaccounts for development, testing, and production environments. This is your starting point to manage your specific workspace in SAP BTP. Select the subaccount where you want to create instances. This means choosing the specific area in SAP BTP that belongs to your project, like picking a folder for new files. For example, if you have separate subaccounts for development and production, choose the development one to safely test new services. Always ensure you are in the correct subaccount before proceeding with any setup. This takes you to your subaccount overview. It means you have successfully navigated to the main page for your specific project space in SAP BTP. For instance, after logging in and selecting your company's development area, you arrive at this central screen. From here, you can manage all your applications and services efficiently. Access the SAP BTP Service Marketplace. In your subaccount, find Service Marketplace in the left menu. This means navigating to the Services section where you can discover and enable tools. For instance, if you need a database service, you'd go here to add it. This is your starting point for accessing all available services in BTP. Click on Service Marketplace. This is where you find all available BTP services to enable for your account. For instance, if you need a database, you locate and activate the SAP HANA service here. This action is your starting point for provisioning any service you require. This shows all available services you can use. It means you can see every SAP BTP service in one place, like a menu. For instance, you could find database, analytics, and security services to build an application. This centralized view makes it easy to discover and select what you need for your project. The marketplace is your shopping center for BTP services. This means you can browse and instantly enable various tools, like databases or AI services, all in one place. For example, if you need a secure database, you simply select it from the marketplace to add it to your account. It's the central hub for finding and activating everything your applications require. Understanding subscribed services in SAP Business Technology Platform. Subscribed services are ones your company has access to. This means your organization has formally purchased or signed up for specific SAP BTP capabilities. For example, if your company subscribes to the SAP HANA Cloud Database service, your developers can build applications using it. Essentially, these are the ready-to-use platform tools your team is entitled to leverage for business solutions. They appear in your service marketplace list. This means any service you have subscribed to is visible and accessible there, like a personal app store. For instance, if you subscribe to SAP HANA Cloud, it will show up in that list. This central view helps you easily manage all your active services. Look for the subscribed filter to see only your available services. This filter helps you quickly find the services you are already using, hiding unsubscribed ones. For instance, if you subscribed to SAP HANA Cloud, applying this filter will display it while hiding others. Using this saves time and keeps your focus on active tools. Only subscribed services can have instances created. This means you must first choose and add a service to your account before using it. For example, you subscribe to the SAP HANA Cloud service, then you can create and run actual HANA databases. This subscription is your permission to start building and operating those services. Identifying ready-to-use services in SAP BTP. Look for services with Create button available. This means you can instantly provision and use the service without complex setup. For example, the SAP HANA Cloud service has a Create button, allowing you to quickly launch a new database instance. This immediate availability accelerates your development and innovation projects directly. The Create button means you can make an instance. This means you can set up a ready-to-use service for your application, like creating a database. For example, clicking Create on SAP HANA Cloud provisions a new database for your project. This action instantly gives you a functional resource to build upon. Some services might show subscribe instead. This means you are activating a managed multi-tenant service, where SAP handles the technical operations for you. For instance, the SAP Build Apps service requires a subscription to start developing applications. This is a standard process for accessing these powerful tools. We focus on services with Create button for this lesson. This means we will only explore services you can immediately set up and use yourself without complex prerequisites. For example, the SAP HANA Cloud service has a Create button, letting you quickly provision a new database instance. This hands-on approach ensures you gain practical, direct experience with these powerful tools right away. Initiating instance creation process. Click the Create button on your chosen service. This action initiates the setup of your service instance, making it ready to use. For example, to create a database, you'd select SAP HANA Cloud and click Create. This simple step brings your service to life and prepares it for your applications. This opens the instance creation interface. This means you are now in the screen where you can set up and launch a new BTP service. For example, when creating a database for your app, this is where you name it and choose its size. Now you are ready to configure your service. You will see a form to configure your instance. This is where you set up your service, similar to filling out an online order form. For example, when creating a database instance, you'd specify its size and region. This form is your main step to tailor the instance to your specific needs. Do not worry, we will explore the form in future lessons. This means we will break down each part of the instance creation form step by step later in the course. For example, when creating a database instance, we will examine fields like service plan and configuration parameters separately. You will master the complete process through focused, manageable lessons. Accessing services through the Service Instances page. You can also start from Service Instances in left menu. This means you can directly manage all your created services without navigating through other sections. For example, if you need to check the status of your HANA database instance, you can go straight there. This approach provides a quick and focused entry point for service management tasks. Click Create button at the top of the Service Instances page. This is your starting point to set up new cloud services. For instance, to add a database, you begin here by clicking Create. This single action initiates the process for any service you need. This shows the same creation interface. It means you will see the identical setup screen and options here as you did when starting from the main dashboard. For example, whether you create an HANA database from this page or the main one, the steps and fields will be the same. This consistency ensures a familiar process every time you create a service. Both paths lead to the same result. This means whether you start from the global account or the Service Instances page, you will reach the same service management interface. For instance, creating a database from either location will produce identical configuration options and outcomes. Ultimately, your choice of entry point does not affect the final service setup or functionality. Required permissions for this application. You need proper permissions to create instances. This means your user account must be specifically authorized to set up new services in SAP BTP. For example, a developer cannot create a new HANA database unless an administrator grants them the right role. Always ensure your permissions are correctly assigned before starting. Typically requires space developer role. This means you need permissions to create and manage applications within a specific project area. For instance, to deploy a new employee onboarding app in the HR space, you must hold this role. This designated access is essential for building and updating solutions in your assigned environment. Contact your administrator if you cannot see Create buttons. This means you lack permissions to build applications. For instance, if you need to create a new workflow but the Create button is missing, your admin must grant you the right access. Always reach out to them to resolve this quickly. Permissions ensure security and proper management. This means users only access what they need, preventing misuse and maintaining order. For example, only payroll staff can view salary data, not all employees. This control keeps systems safe and running smoothly. Let's quickly recap our navigation options. 1. Log into BTP cockpit. This means accessing the central web interface where you manage all SAP BTP services. For example, a developer logs in here daily to check their application's status and resource usage. This first step is essential for performing any task within the SAP Business Technology Platform. 2. Go to your subaccount. This means accessing the dedicated workspace in SAP BTP, where you manage your specific applications and services. For example, if you are developing a custom analytics app, you navigate here to configure its security and database connections. This is your central hub for building and running solutions. 3. Click Service Marketplace. This opens the catalog where all available BTP services are listed, like a digital app store. For example, if you need a database, you find and select it here. This action is your starting point for activating any service you require. 4. Find subscribed service. This means locating a specific SAP BTP capability you have already activated for your account. For instance, after subscribing to the SAP HANA Cloud Database service, you would navigate to your subaccount to find and access it. This step is essential for using any service you have chosen. 5. Click Create button. This confirms your selections and initiates the actual provisioning process. For example, after configuring a new HANA Cloud instance, clicking this button officially requests the system to build it for you. This single action is what brings your planned service to life in the cloud. You are ready to configure. This means you have the foundational knowledge to start setting up SAP BTP services yourself. For example, you could now activate the SAP HANA Cloud service and connect it to your application. With these navigation skills, you are prepared to begin hands-on implementation. Practice exercise. Try navigating to the instance creation screen. This means you should go to the part of SAP BTP where you can start setting up a new service, like a database. For example, it is like opening a website's sign-up page to create a new account. Practicing this step builds your confidence in managing cloud resources efficiently. Do not actually create an instance yet. This means just navigate to the creation screen without finalizing anything. For example, when booking a flight, you'd select options but not click purchase yet. This prevents accidental resource usage during practice. Always verify configurations before proceeding with actual creation. Just practice finding the Create button. This means simply locating where to start building something new in SAP BTP without performing the actual creation. For example, open your BTP account and navigate to different services just to identify where their Create buttons appear. Becoming comfortable with this navigation builds confidence for when you are ready to build actual solutions. This builds muscle memory for the navigation. This means that by repeating the steps, your brain and hands will learn the menu paths automatically, like riding a bike. For example, regularly deploying an app in the BTP cockpit teaches you to find services without thinking. Soon, you will navigate the platform quickly and confidently. You are ready to create. You now know how to find instance creation. This means you can locate the exact tools in SAP BTP to start building new services. For example, if you need a database, you navigate to the Service Marketplace and select Create Instance to get started. With this skill, you are prepared to set up any required resource. This is the foundation for all service deployment. It means every SAP BTP service you build or run depends on this core setup. For example, before launching a sales analytics app, you must first establish this groundwork to host and manage it securely. This base ensures all your services are reliable and scalable from the start. Next lesson, configuring your first instance. This means setting up your initial SAP BTP service so it is ready to use, similar to customizing a new app. For example, you might configure a trial account to send notifications. Mastering this is your first step to building powerful applications. Great job learning the navigation basics. This means you can confidently move around SAP BTP to find the tools and services you need. For instance, you can now easily access your cloud applications from the global account. With these skills, you are all set to start building your own solutions.